broadcasting live out of a basement in Appleton, Wisconsin. You're tuned into Fox City's Core on WCZR Code Zero Radio. We're the show that gives you an opportunity to call in and be a part of the show. Our call-in line is 920-358-0795. Core.
Our guests today. My next guests are a rock trio from Green Bay, Wisconsin. The band formed in 2019. Their latest album,
Sight for Sore Eyes, was released earlier this year.
I'd like to welcome Scary Canaries to Fox City's Core on Code Zero Radio. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Very good. Good morning.
It's always fun to get a band in that I've never even talked to before, because it's like fresh territory. So we've got a lot of ground to cover today.
Yeah.
It's first of all, for people that aren't familiar with Scary Canaries, you guys have been around now, as mentioned, for quite some time. You want to just kind of go down the row and say who you are and what you do in the band?
Yeah. My name is Mason. I sing and play guitar.
My name is Jake. I play bass.
My name is Avery, and I hit the skins. I play the drums.
If somebody asked what kind of, how would you describe Scary Canaries' music, how would you explain that to them? What style of music, what could they expect?
Most of the time I usually say blues grunge. That's
blues
kind of
grunge.
the two avenues we walk on the most.
Blues grunge, that might be the first time I've heard that one.
Yeah, we made it up. Yeah, I mean, I'd say, as a songwriter, the biggest influences have been Nirvana and Stone Temple Pilots and bands like that. But then also John Mayer is my guitar hero, I guess. So that's where I learned the blues and everything.
So when you guys first kind of picked up instruments or got interested in music, was that love of music started when you were a kid growing up in your household? Did you have music in all your households, or when did music kind of become a thing for you?
I guess for me it was high school. My brother got a drum set, and we put it. My parents were put it in our bedroom. We shared a bedroom, and I wanted it to be gone. I was like, it's annoying. It's taking up too much space. And then one day I was listening to Weezer, and I was just like, you know what? That sounds fair enough. So I always kind of had an appreciation for music, but then I just started playing the drums, and then I went, oh wait, I actually like the drums. And so that's kind of how I started. Ever since then, it was just almost every day.
Did you take lessons or self-taught?
Self-taught.
Oh, so how long did it take you to get to the point where you could play with people?
Yeah. Probably a good year, and then I was really playing with people.
That's pretty good.
But a lot of just jamming out in my bedroom.
Jake, what about you?
I started playing music pretty young. I played and took piano lessons from elementary school till start of high school. Stopped doing piano for a bit, and then started doing a ton of show choir stuff, which that was a crazy time in my life. And then college started, and I wasn't really doing anything musically. And sophomore year of college, I bought a bass and started playing with Mason and hit our apartment a month after that. And then he taught me a lot of the bass stuff, and we met Avery pretty soon after.
Yeah. And then I played the baritone in middle school. That was kind of my first music thing. And then my dad had American Idiot, Green Day album, and I just got completely hooked on rock music after that. And I was listening to Nirvana. Come As You Are was the first song. I was like, I need a guitar now, and I need to learn how to play that. So then after that, it just spiraled from there. Just had to learn every rock song I could think of.
Well, Jake mentioned that you guys were roommates at one point. Or no, you weren't roommates.
Oh, he was in his apartment.
Time. Oh, okay.
First time on the radio.
So did you guys meet at school, or you met before that?
Yeah, we met at school. We met during an intramural soccer game. We were playing against Jake's team.
And you guys, how did the conversation go after that? I mean, how did you just were talking after the game and then decided well, let's start a band together?
We said you got to join our soccer team. He's a pretty good soccer player. And then we saw each other at a few like parties or whatever, and then eventually started hanging out, and then a couple years later is when he picked up the bass.
Avery was playing drums in the pep band for the university, like pep band, and I'd go to the basketball games and I'd see him playing in them, and Mason and I had been playing more and more, and we talked about getting together with a drummer, but neither of us knew anybody who played the drums or had access to a kit. And Avery seemed like a likable fellow, and like after a timeout or something, he had just finished playing with the band. I walked over to him and asked if he wanted to play with two guys that he'd never met before, and he was down. So the rest is, as they say, history.
Obviously, your personalities meshed. If you're still playing together after all this time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so if you guys were the Beatles, and you each had your own personality trait, who would be Paul, John, George, and Ringo? You can leave one out if you want. It's kind of a weird question, but let's start off with those kinds today.
You go. I have a feeling who you're gonna say.
Well, Ringo always came to the band like, "Hey, I got a song that I wrote, and I want to play it," but I don't do that.
That is true.
So I don't know how much I'd be Ringo. I'm like, anything I ever write, I'm like, I don't want anyone to hear that ever. But for the sake of Ringo being a drummer, I guess. And I get comparisons, especially when I shave everything except for the mustache. People are like, "Hey, you look like Ringo Starr." I'm like, "Thanks."
A lot of people say you do his brush thing on the hi-hat.
Oh yeah. I think I definitely.
Or the ride.
A bit of my playing is inspired by Ringo. 'Cause we had such a unique sound, so.
You're the one that writes all the songs for this, so you can be whichever one you want to be.
Probably Paul, Paul or George. I would think.
Those are also the ones that I would rather be. I don't really want to be John Lennon that bad.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Well, so you mentioned Mason's doing all the songwriting, in the band. How does that affect? Are you guys okay with that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Fun, yeah.
And would Mason, would you prefer it if the guys eventually I know Nirvana was one of your influences. I think at one point Kurt said he was glad that Dave Grohl started contributing some song ideas during In Utero. I mean, is that something you wish that Jake and Avery would start doing?
So the process that we have, I'll kind of come up with the song by myself, the shell of the song and all the words, but then I hate it. I almost always hate the song, and then and I envision drum parts and some bass parts, but then when we play it together and I hear what they come up with, that's when the song is complete. And that's when I realize, that was a good song or that was a bad song. It's hard to judge a song until I've heard them on it. So I can't say that it's an individual songwriting process, but just the shell of the song and the chords and the words. I guess that's just, I like to do it by myself. Yeah, I'm not very good at collaborating with other artists. People have asked me to co-write with them, and there's no way that I could be vulnerable enough to share ideas with someone else.
When you're writing, are you basing your writing on a lyrical idea? Or are you trying to come up with a catchy riff first? Or can you take us through the process of your songwriting?
I guess it's different for every song. One time, for our song "Hold On Tight," I was sitting at a restaurant with my friend, and I just got this riff, man. So I pulled up my notes or the voice recorder. I was like, and went home and built the song off that. And I've had songs where I just start on some chord progression, palm muting or whatever, and I'm just yelling and until I find a vocal melody that sounds good. But
there's some songs like Cinnamon, where you kind of you base the vocals and guitar very much off of each other and make them similar too.
Yeah, that was the first song that we ever did was Cinnamon, and that's still the one that people like the most. So we spent the last 4 years trying to write a song that people like more than Cinnamon, and we just can't do it. So.
Also, it sounds like you're kind of inspired at different times, and you just kind of kind of, if you've got a phone, like you said, you'll listen to that. But some guitarists, it seems like they write better on acoustic. Are you mainly writing on electric, or do you have an acoustic that you play around with?
Acoustic.
Okay. I wonder why that is. Like, do you think it's just because you don't need to plug in an amp, or? Could
be. I don't know. Because it's not like I'm doing anything. It's not. We don't do like a lot of like cowboy chords, or it's all power chords. So I guess it wouldn't really make a difference. Maybe I just feel more comfortable playing the acoustic. I don't know.
Well, then, are you a gear guy? Do you have a lot of guitars, a lot of amps?
I have one amp and like 4 guitars, I think. I used to cycle through a lot of different gear. I used to be one of those Craigslist guys where I'd like flip guitars. Like I'd buy a guitar for $50 or whatever, restring it, and just make it, clean the fretboard and stuff, and then sell it.
He gave me one of those old guitars. That's my guitar.
Yeah. So a lot of times I'd just buy a cheap guitar and just give it to a friend or whatever. So, but no, I'm not the biggest gear guy. I don't really have a pedal board. I just do one blues driver and just call it good. Hook it up to the amp, and
that's probably going to make it easier. Like when you're playing shows, you have less to lug around.
Yeah, yeah, less spots for something to go wrong.
Well, let's talk about when you guys like started writing together. Were you guys starting on cover songs, or did you immediately go to writing Cinnamon?
We played covers for quite a bit. I mean, that was just kind of all the songs that we knew together were covers. We didn't really know each other as musicians well enough to just kind of make stuff up on the spot like we'll do now when we're just hanging out. But covers were just a kind of a good middle ground to learn how to play with each other. And I think every Red Hot Chili Peppers song we all knew, we all learned how to play together, and Nirvana, and I mean Foo Fighters, and you name it.
When you were doing the cover songs, were you like under Scary Canaries, or just you were? So then did you do any shows under Scary Canaries doing the cover songs?
So we were never just like strictly a cover band. It was just when we started, we only had a couple originals. So we would go to Fatheads, if you remember Fatheads. We started out playing there, and like our first time ever, it was my first time ever singing in public. I was so nervous, panicking. But we played 4 covers, and we played Cinnamon. So I guess we've always had originals to play, or at least one. But then we just started trickling them in more and more. Now it's more on the other side. We'll play a set, 10-song set, and have one cover every once in a while. So it was more of just a process to getting more songs.
So you mentioned kind of the nervousness of playing the first show at Fatheads. Did that kind of give you like the adrenaline to want to feel that rush again? I mean, after that first show, did it take a while to get the nervousness out, or do you still feel nervousness before a show?
I mean, I still feel nervousness, I would say, but now that we've played a bunch of shows, like I know, like no matter how nervous I am before a show, that when I'm on stage, I'm not gonna be. Like it's gonna feel right. Everything's gonna click. But yeah, it was pretty fun to get up there and actually do it, because it's fun to go up there and sing, and I don't know.
How was the response from the crowd during that first show?
It was good.
Were you guys opening for somebody?
It was just an open jam.
Okay.
It was one of the open jams, but we were in college at UW Green Bay, so we had a bunch of friends come out, so Fatheads would let us play a little bit longer, and based on how many people came out, I would say. So
then you guys wrote more songs. You did a EP at Rock Garden, was that?
Yep.
So you're going into the studio now. Now you've got, how many songs did you guys record on that EP?
5 or 6.
7.
So I mean, that's a pretty good length as you go in there to record. I mean, can you walk me through how you felt walking into a studio like Rock Garden to record your debut project? And do you think that I mean, is that an EP that you still listen to and you're happy with, or now does it seem kind of like you would have maybe done some things differently?
We did re-record a couple of those songs on that and put them on like the first full-length album. But going in the first time, like I was very nervous. It was my first time recording anything. and I'd only been playing bass for a little over a year. I was still kind of figuring it out, but we'd had those 7 songs for quite a bit of time, and we had enough time we were playing, like 3 or 4 times a week, so we were playing a lot. We had those songs down really well, and I think we had 3 days in the studio to record the entire thing, tracks and vocals on everything, and we did it in 3.5.
Yeah, I think we had 16 total hours of studio time. Thank you, Patrick, Avery's dad.
We got a record deal from Avery's dad.
Yeah.
Endorsement.
Did you guys record most of that all together, or did you do your parts separately?
We would do it live to get Avery's drum take, and then if there were anything from the bass of the guitar part, we would go in and overdub that, and then he would do vocals after the fact.
Yeah, I just remember walking into the studio and just being in awe of all the cool gear and everything, and then, Marc pulls out the Telefunken U47 microphone, and he's like, yeah, this is like a $10,000 microphone. I'm like, wow. He's like, yeah, this is what the Beatles would sing into. All right. But it was a lot of fun. We were definitely nervous, but we really liked what we got. We didn't spend a lot of time. We just kind of wanted to get the songs done and get them out. We didn't really focus too much on if they sounded big or if it sounded if it sounded exactly how we wanted it, because we were kind of in a hurry. So it was really nice to go back and retouch some of the songs. And when we released it, we called it an album, because and I know it was only 7 songs, but Jar of Flies only has 8 by Alice in Chains. So I'm like, we could call it an album.
Doesn't it go off of length though, not song?
It's all up to interpretation.
Yeah, we've had debates about that before, but yeah, I mean, you could have put just a downstroke power chord on there for song 8.
True. Then we look back at it and we're like, that was an EP.
That was an EP.
Well, that's great. So, I mean, obviously you liked recording there because you went back and then you did your, I mean, would you consider the debut album, if you're chronologically looking at your albums, would you consider that one of the albums, or would you consider that kind of a demo album?
Just a demo.
Okay. Well, so then did you release that at all, or did you burn it on CDR and sell it? Did you put it on Bandcamp? It's not living on Bandcamp anymore.
Nope. But we did get CDs. We went to Greg Waters at Vector Media for the EP in our first 2 albums, and got physical copies, and they were great.
So they're out there. That's cool.
Yeah, Avery's probably got some in the car. We're gonna give you a little goodie bag of all of our CDs and stickers and a shirt. So
thank you.
Remind us after.
Well, thank you. Well, you did Tempermental then, was the first full album. So you did that at Rock Garden. You're back at Rock Garden, working with some of the tracks that you had on the self-titled. And then at that point you had a little bit of time away, and we're kind of talking about kind of looking back and then wishing you would have done certain things differently. Did you make any major changes to the songs that carried over onto Temperamental?
I couldn't make any changes on mine because the drum tracks were already done, so I just
but
had to
they
be
were perfect. They were perfect anyways.
Would you have wanted to change anything at that point?
I mean, my problem is every time I listen to every song we record, I want to change something, and I think we all do that because it's just an artistic thing. You're like, oh man, that hi-hat hit right there, I didn't really like that. I could have done that better, but at some point you just got to be like, you know what, it's out there and it's good enough.
Well, so I guess Jake and Mason, you guys are in a different situation because you guys can punch things in and out pretty easily. Did you make any major changes to any of your stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. The year after, I mean, it was just more time with those songs again to kind of dig into them more and come up with different licks. We're playing them. I'm practicing them every day. We're playing them a couple times a week, gigging them, and just kind of I had different parts that I wanted to put in. And I think for some of the songs with more fills, like Walk Away, I think we recorded that entire bass line again, piece by piece, because I wanted it to be perfect. And the finished product of that I'm super happy with.
Did you prefer to do your bass out in the main room or in the control room?
For Walk Away, I remember doing it in the control room. Doing it on the big room, it felt more like a sporting event. There was like pressure because they were in the cage like watching me, and Marc's back there with his sunglasses on, like watching me play every note. So doing it in the lounge area on the big comfy couch, I would prefer doing it there.
Marc does the game face too, where it's like just a solid stone stare, which can be a little intimidating.
Well, I mean, also just the fact that he knows what he's doing,
Yeah.
and he's got so many skills, and like just like the instruments and everything that he has, it's very intimidating. It's like, oh my gosh, this is a legit studio.
Yeah, that was my first time working with Marc. Was my first time seeing somebody do like actual audio wizardry, and like putting different takes together and making it sound like one. It was really neat.
Yeah, Pro Tools expert, I would say.
So Mason, you must have made some, like...
Yeah. We, so Disconnection was on the EP. We re-recorded the whole thing. I borrowed my friend's Jag Stang,
Nice.
so I get a real nasty tone on it. Cinnamon, I think we just kept it the way it was because it was tight. Dan Marino, I added just a ton of layered guitars on it. Kept the vocal track. And then Walk Away, I think you just redid the bass. And I redid the vocals because I was never happy with the vocals. Still not happy with the vocals. I would very much like to re-record that.
What don't you like about the vocals?
I had a stuffy nose. but I'm like, we gotta go. We gotta do it today. So, and I don't know if anybody's ever picked up on that, but when I hear it, I'm like, oh, I wish I could sing that again. And then Bad was on the EP, but then we left it off the first album, and then we put it on Miles Apart, our second album. And we re-recorded the whole thing, and I think made it sound better, I would say.
And then to kind of go a little bit even further, your latest album, you Gone Away, you did in Madison, the Blast House. So what was the feeling kind of stepping out of your clubhouse, which would be kind of rock garden, where you've did everything previously, to all of a sudden going to the Blast House, not only different studio, but way further away than, the 20-minute drive from Green Bay?
Well, Jake and I actually live in Madison now.
I did not know that.
So, yeah, it was an early morning for us. But, yeah, it was... We wanted to see if we could find a studio in Madison, and Avery doesn't mind driving. He'll go anywhere to play the drums.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we figured we would try a new place. And we were really happy with what we got. Landon Arkins at Blast House was super easy to work with, really good guy. And then we went back to Justin Perkins at Mystery Room. So Justin did all the mastering for all of our albums, but yeah, we went to Blast House for Cypress Eyes, the latest album.
So people listening that might not be familiar with mastering, do you want to give me your take on mastering?
Yeah, you just put a limiter on it and it raised the volume. And you send out the invoice. I'm just kidding. I really have no idea. It's magic. It's all. I just stay out of it. When we send the tracks to Justin, we get them back and they sound so much better. So I don't.
So it kind of maybe polishes it a little bit more, makes it more like sparkly for radio play or whatever.
Yeah, and it gets like the volumes right for different different platforms, like and he'll send out like the 24-bit wave files and the 16, and we use CD Baby, so we just do the 16 anyway. But
so did your recording process change working with Landon versus Marc? Did he have a different way of recording you guys, or did you sort of want to stick to the same formula that you were used to?
I think like the formula of how it happened, like getting a drum take with, that being the take that's actually being recorded and the drum and bass being scratched after that, most likely. We did that similarly, but it was a different space. It was different studio, different equipment. It was a totally different experience.
And would that, like, if you start work on your next album, would you check out another studio, or would you go to one you already went to? I know that's kind of
Well, that's a conversation we'll have to have as a band.
Okay, so out of the 3 albums, we're leaving the self-titled out of this.
Mhm.
What was the easiest album to record? Which one was the hardest? And I know there's some overlap on the first 2, so.
Miles Apart is the hardest.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say Miles Apart. I would say that the new one, Cyphersaurus, was the hardest to write. But like the first, especially like Tempermental, was super easy to write because I was just kind of starting as a songwriter, so it was easy to pump out all these ideas.
Well, you did have to write like
how
many songs?
We had so when we started as a band, we had nothing. I'd never really written songs before, and I just wrote Cinnamon just on a whim because I had like that blues riff, and then we started getting offered shows at like the Levitt Amp series. You need to have like an hour of original music, and I'm like, so we took the gig. And it was kind of like a challenge, you know.
Gig was in July. It was probably like February or something.
Yeah. So then I just started pumping out songs. Didn't matter if they were good. I was just pumping them out. And then I think I wrote like 6 of our songs on Tempermental in like a 2-week stretch. So it was a lot easier to write that one versus now when I've already used up all of my good ideas. So
Do you feel if you had like another deadline, like maybe you guys agreed to do something where you would need to do like songs that had not been released yet? Do you think you could maybe get back in that mindset to?
Oh yeah, probably.
And do you feel pressure? I mean, you mentioned Cinnamon was your signature song. That's also your oldest song. I mean, do you feel pressure to write? I think you kind of already alluded to that. Pressure to write another Cinnamon or a song that people are going to latch on to, like that song. And do you feel that you might never get to that level again because people are more receptive, like right when they're hearing you for the first time? Do you think that is kind of an issue too?
I think that's what it was. Is that it was like our first song, so people would kind of latch onto that one more. I certainly don't think it's our best song, but I have a lot of fun playing it, and it's different from everything that we've written. So, like, I haven't tried to write Cinnamon 2. But there is a Cinnamon 2 out there,
yeah.
But we didn't write it. So
our friends in the Bool, sponsored by Hams, wrote that song, Cinnamon 2.
Well, what song's better, Cinnamon 1 or Cinnamon 2?
Depends on who you ask, I think.
Depends who you ask. One's punk and one is blues. So.
2 very different.
Apples and oranges.
So you guys are, like, you came up in the Green Bay scene. Now, Mason and Jake, you guys are down in Madison. Like, how are the scenes different in Green Bay versus Madison? Is it a lot of the same? Is it different? Is it harder to get a gig somewhere?
I think it's a little bit harder to get a gig in Madison right now than it was for us in Green Bay when we were first starting. Madison, I don't know if it's like more competitive because there's more people there. There's more people that want to play in bands or what, but I don't know. We just haven't really been playing a ton of gigs down there. The gigs we have played, though, we played at the Rigby for our album release show in April. That was really, really fun.
Yeah.
A couple cool bands, Bridger, Modern Dairy from Chicago.
And the Kilroys.
The Kilroys, yeah. That was a fun night.
Yeah, we played Scotty Bar a couple times with the Bool, which were really fun shows. I hit up the Wisco the other day, but I don't know if they saw it. It was an Instagram DM. I'll have to try to get a hold of them on another medium because I would love to play there. I went there the other day. I was like, we should play there.
There's bands all over the place. It's just like I don't know who to talk to get a gig. Maybe when we were younger, in our earlier days, we were more ambitious on going up to people in bars and saying like, "Hey, how do we play here?" That's how we got in at Frets in Green Bay. We were just like hanging around one night waiting for the owner. And he was not there. But yeah, we just got to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I imagine like the Madison will open up eventually, or you know, as you make connections. But it's got to be a little difficult to move into a new kind of musical territory, and you kind of like reestablishing all the people you know and the places you can play and stuff. But that's cool. I mean, I know there's as far as the actual music scene down there. I know there's a lot of rock bands down there. I don't know if you've seen like any other genres that are big in Madison.
I've been to Mickey's a couple times. one of my friends he lives in that neighborhood, so we go there kind of often. Cool older like punk bands come through there every once in a while.
Yeah. I think it kind of like, because we're so far from Green Bay, we're kind of the Green Bay music scene is changing a little bit. I think we're kind of not as involved in the Green Bay music scene as we used to be when we lived in Green Bay.
It's been a lot harder to get together and play a lot of shows, and we're all so much more busier now than when we were 21, 22. So
Yeah, when we were in college, it was more convenient to play like 3 or 4 nights a week when they were all in Green Bay. We could play Frets, Fatheads somewhere on campus and then somewhere else.
yeah, we
4
do
nights in a row.
the tour to Green Bay.
Well, so with you guys down in Madison too, like, so yeah, you're practicing less, and I mean, now if you are gonna start writing songs again, are you gonna move more to like emailing files around and
We
having
got the Google Drive.
You got the Google Drive.
Facebook group chat.
That's kind of normally, though, how we never really practiced a whole bunch. I mean, when we got together first as a band, we would practice a lot. But then as we kind of established ourselves, with each other and figured out who we were as musicians, we didn't really practice a whole bunch. We would Mason would send us demos of the songs that he wrote, and then we just practice them on our own and then get together and kind of figure them out.
The 6 songs that he was talking about writing in 2 weeks or whatever, they all came to us over Facebook Messenger. It was like, here's Jake, here are the chords. It's Mason singing and playing his acoustic guitar.
I mean, that's I guess that's the way of the present,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how we'd have to do it again.
Yeah.
Who are some of the bands? We had Sherry Lane on a few months ago, and they talked about Scary Canaries quite a bit. So, I mean, are there bands from Green Bay? Like, who are your homies in Green Bay? Like, the bands that you feel kind of the most connected to, that, they're, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, we love Sherry Lane. We love Sinner and the Saint. We love playing with Trash Pan, the Sons of Kong.
Sons of Kong.
Who am I missing? I know I'm going to be missing a bunch of
Floral
people.
Friday. And
Floral
those
Friday.
guys.
Yeah, Floral Friday.
Once you get established in Madison, I'm sure you're going to try to pull some of those bands down to the Madison area. Yeah. Sons of Kong, though,
They rock.
Yeah, they're.
Oh my god.
All the bands you mentioned are awesome. So I mean, I think again, like, the scene is so good around here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of mind blowing in a way.
Yeah.
Because, you guys, we didn't even touch yet on your music videos. You guys have a ton of music videos. It's like I saw one, and then it's like it was a rabbit hole, just kind of kept flowing through. How did you guys get into like doing music videos? It was just, and you've got like somebody that helps you, it looks like, or kind of takes you through the process. But there's a lot of great Scary Canary music videos on YouTube.
Yeah, that's our friend Logan O'Leary. He approached, I think that's how it went. He kind of approached us and asked us if we wanted to do a music video, and we're like, yeah. So we did the Cinnamon one in Avery's garage, and every music video's got to have a fight scene. Like, we're always,
Every good music video has a fight scene.
So, we love doing it. It's just so much fun to, like, the Miles Apart music video. It's kind of like a mockumentary. It's like
12 minutes long.
Yeah. It's like, yeah.
Well, it's okay. Yeah, my favorite part of that obviously is the talking about the amount of breasts he signed.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and then the scenes are all really good, like really well done. Avery, you're at your parents' house, but Mason, you're at a really nice house that you afforded.
With my solo career.
Yeah, with your solo career.
Yeah.
And Jake, you were living in the trunk of a car.
Yeah.
So I mean that kind of stuff had to be fun to film as well, and then you can put a music video. And do you feel music videos are a good way to get people to listen to, like, actually sit through a song now, since like there's so many different places to listen to music and people's attention span is like 10-15 seconds.
Yeah. I think a video, especially nowadays, everybody's looking at their phones all the time. It's a great way to grab somebody's attention, even if it is for just like 10 or 15 seconds. Like, they're more inclined to watch something if there's something funny to watch with it too.
I think we also just made it because we were like, this would be fun to do. Like, even if nobody watches it.
Like the Brady Bunch one.
With some
Nobody
gas.
asked us to do a Brady Bunch spoof. We did that because we wanted to.
Well, that looked like it took a while too, and Logan must have been going through like just the clips because he had to match up the looking and
He was
all
a
the
mastermind.
He's so good.
all the changes, the costume changes and stuff for that. But yeah, you
Yeah.
can really get down the rabbit hole of Scary Canary music videos. And
Yeah.
do you have a favorite of the videos?
I think I would have to go with the Some Gas, the Brady Bunch one, just because that was hilarious to see us all with wigs and dresses and
Yeah.
playing all the siblings. And Avery is both of the parents. I think that's the funniest scene in that entire thing when he looks at himself.
I would say Carried Away, I think is my favorite.
And that's the newest one, isn't it?
That's the...
No, that's not the
I think
newest.
it's the second newest. It's the one where we're all competing for the same girl.
Yeah,
We're all-
who's the girl in the video?
That's Faith Click. Her and Logan I used to work with on campus as a university ambassadors giving tours.
There's a fight in that video too at the
Oh,
end.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very good one.
And I think that's Logan at the end, right? That comes out. He gets the
Yeah.
girl.
Boyfriend,
He gets a
Is that-
cameo. That's
Yeah,
right.
that's a great video. So in 2022, Mason, you got COVID and you did some like online streaming stuff.
Mm.
Like, did you just want to put something out there, and was that something that kind of made you think about? Yeah, maybe I could, do some shows solo if I wanted to.
Ooh. I don't know. I was pretty bored. I was just pretty bored just sitting around. And I guess, I don't know, it was fun to kind of try to adapt our songs into acoustic songs.
Did you get a lot of feedback on it? A lot of good feedback?
Doesn't have a lot of views. I don't know.
Well, views,
True.
you can buy views.
True. But I don't know. It was more.
How much
It
are
was a
they?
passion project more so. But I don't think I could ever do a solo thing. I don't know if I'm brave enough to go up there without my team.
What about Jake? You've got a guitar that Mason gave you at home.
Yeah, it's in my trunk of my car right now, actually. I play with another group right now as well, but we've played like 2 gigs total, and we don't have anything else booked, so it's just kind of like I'm down to play other things. I like playing, but just time right now is
You
kind
gotta
of
shout out the name.
yeah. Shout out Kermit the Frogs,
Nice.
Madison's premier minion mosh and Muppet prog punk band.
I like it. You guys did a show at the Lyric Room, Weezfest.
Yes.
Tell me about that, because Weezer is one of your influences. How was that to play Weezfest?
It's a dream come true.
Jake's the biggest Weezer fan.
I love
of us.
Weezer. When I first bought a bass, like one of my like goals was to be in like a Weezer cover band when I'm like later in life, and I'm glad that I've done more than that now. Like we've played a lot of Weezer songs, and playing at Weezfest was really fun. Getting to dig out a song that was not on the Blue Album or Pinkerton for us to cover. We played "Put Me Back Together"
Yep.
off of Ratitude. That was a lot of fun. And the Weezfest guys, they do a pretty cool podcast too, and they put on a really good show that night as well.
Yeah, they're awesome.
So I've got to ask you, Jake, Blue Album or Pinkerton?
Pinkerton.
Yeah, it's on record as saying Pinkerton. Do you guys agree?
I've listened to Pinkerton like twice. I mean, Blue Album is great. I like. There's songs on Pinkerton that I like
I know
more
what
than
you're gonna
songs
say.
on the Blue Album.
Jake thinks he knows what I'm gonna say. What am I gonna say, Jake?
You're gonna say Blue Album.
Red Album. Throwing a curveball in there.
The White Album is my favorite.
Avery is the greatest fan who ever lived.
Well, you guys also did a cover with Sinner and the Saints you've mentioned of Undone the Sweater Song. How did that come about?
During the pandemic, there was nothing else to do, so
It turned out really well.
it was a lot of fun to mix. It was tricky. It was tricky because like most of the takes were just like a video recording, like the drum and the bass takes were just a video.
Yeah,
So I was trying to mix that in with like
I
Like, I
recorded
got
it in
some-
my garage.
yeah, like I got some DI recordings of a guitar with no setting on it or anything, and it was a great challenge because I'm not much of like an engineer in any way, but it was fun to act like I was.
Any like chance that you guys will collaborate with Sinner and the Saints for any future projects like that?
Yeah, we'd love to. I mean, they're awesome.
I know you mentioned earlier in the interview that you don't really like collaborating, or it's kind of hard, but I mean, something like that's a kind of a cover song. Is that
Oh, that's
a little different?
That's a lot easier.
We've played with that with them live a couple times,
Yeah.
just because I mean, it's how we started, is playing covers with people, and it's fun to do that.
Mm-hmm.
What are you guys the most proud of so far in the whole lifespan of Scary Canary? The Scary Canaries' most proud moments.
Oh man, there's a lot. I mean, there's like,
I would say my proudest moment is breaking out of the bedroom and getting on stage and being able to actually do it. Because there's such a huge gap between just being a bedroom rocker and actually getting, like, you know, getting out there and doing it. And when you make your first hour playing music, you know, I'm a professional, you know. For me, that was like the most proud.
I think for me, it's been just like kind of meeting everybody. Every time we play somewhere, every time we go somewhere, there's just like some random encounter with a stranger that is just like so wholesome and so fun. And I'll probably never see them again, but if I do, it'll be at that same bar that we played at, and they're still going to be there, and there's still going to be somebody to go and talk to.
I guess when I'm just listening to music and like a song of ours comes on, especially like a song that I haven't listened to in a while, like just shuffles on, and I go, oh yeah, like, holy smokes, that song. And then that just makes me go like, oh wow, we have like 3 albums and an EP. That's something I never thought when I started playing the drums was ever going to be, you know, in the cards. So I think that's something I'm really proud of us for doing.
It's going way further than any of us thought. I think we thought we'd go.
As far as like merchandise and releasing albums, are you guys big fans of coming up with new merchandise, or like what can people find when they're at a Scary Canaries show to purchase?
Well, it's free.
Yeah,
We're not.
If we bring it, it's free.
Yeah, we got the same shirts from when we first started. Jake did design a shirt for a Tempermental release, and they're turned out awesome. And I think I've got like one of them left.
Yeah.
Like, but
Is it just something that you'd rather give it away than make people pay for it, or?
We're just not good salesmen.
well, and, you know, I mean, I'd rather have somebody just have it than it just sit in a box in my room. You know, like say we make $20 from selling 2 when we could have gave away 10. You know, I don't know. The money's not super. It's not like we're making money doing this.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we spend a lot more money recording the albums and whatnot, so might as well get them out.
And so you've released them all on CD at this point?
Mm-hmm.
And I know some bands are going strictly digital, which to me is kind of a foreign thought, but I guess I also understand, like, they're making cars without CD players. So,
Yeah.
I mean, is that, do you like having the actual physical CDs? So that's something you guys will keep on doing in the future?
I think so, yeah. We thought about doing vinyl for the last record, but there's just so much going on that we just kind of ran out of time too. Like, someday, maybe someday we'll do a greatest hits album on vinyl and get that out. But
And we'll give it away for free.
yeah, well, that one we can't do for free. That one's got.
So, I mean, if you did a vinyl record, that opens up the whole new doors. Like, you have to get it mastered twice if you're going to do CD and vinyl, and but then you get to do all that decorating of the cover art and stuff, which I think would.
Yeah.
Your past albums, who did the art for the albums or the CDs? That was Jake.
Yeah, except for the EP, our friend Maddie Kwame did that one.
Yeah.
She did a really good job on it. I mean, you can't find it anywhere, but it's like a big bad like canary biker dude riding a Harley. It's awesome illustration.
This is a good point to ask. Why the name Scary Canaries? Like, who came up with that? Like, take me through the incarnation of that band name.
I think that was just like a random.
It's a pretty underwhelming story.
We were at Fatheads. It was the first time we were playing, and they were like, "What's your name?" And we shouted out Scary Canaries. I think there was like no thought to it whatsoever. It just kind of stuck.
Well, I mean, you love birds.
I've got a bird
guy.
thing, I guess. I've got a bird thing. It was especially acting up around 2019.
Yeah.
then people always are like, well, you're not scary. Like, yeah, no, we're not.
Neither's a canary.
Did you have a favorite place to play in Green Bay when you guys were based out of Green Bay?
Yeah, we love playing Frets and Friends.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Such a great place to play. Jerry runs sound really, really well there and always makes us sound good. So,
Well, and you guys at Mile Music this year, you played at the Ambassador for Acre of Tunes. How was that?
it was
It's
fun.
pretty cool.
Was
yeah.
that your first time at the Ambassador?
Yes.
Yes.
And if you've never been to the Ambassador, to people listening or watching, it's a kind of a unique venue to play. It's a kind of a long, narrow kind of place, and then the stage is at the end. So you really have to kind of fight to get your spot if you're going to watch the band.
Yeah.
When you guys played, who were some of the other bands you played with that night?
It was the Motel Men opened for us, and that was it. They were kind of like an electronic.
It's a synth duo.
Yeah.
They had like loops and stuff they did. It was pretty cool.
Had you attended Mile Music in the past?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was probably kind of exciting to get downtown and
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
We'd played like Acre of Tunes adjacent kind of things before where it was, Mile Music weekend, but we're 3 or 4 blocks away from College Ave. This is the closest we've actually been to like College Ave. We were right around the corner, so that was kind of fun.
Yeah, we played Tandem Wine Bar, last Mile of Music. So Stone Arch is right across the street from it, and they had like a bluegrass band playing there, and we were just cranked all the way up, and I felt bad we were kind of drowning. Oh, yeah, I hope we weren't drowning them out, but
They had a PA too. I'm sure they were fine.
yeah.
Have you ever played Misfits?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yes, twice.
Yeah.
Twice?
Yeah.
First time with the Trash Pandas, I think we played it.
Yeah.
Yeah, second time with
The Sons of
Flame
Kong.
Edition.
Yeah.
Sons of Kong.
Yeah.
Is there any place in Appleton you haven't played yet that you hope to play someday?
We did Cold Shot.
Yeah, we did Cold Shot.
Did Misfits.
Beer Factory?
We haven't played the Beer Factory yet.
We want to
Beer
play
Factory.
Appleton Beer
Oh,
Factory.
that's a good.
We got offered one, but we weren't able to take the gig.
Yeah, Marc's been Appleton Beer Factory's been bringing in just a ton of music. It's great to have, somebody like that in the Appleton area that's pulling in people. Is there? You mentioned Frets. Is there, besides Frets and Friends in Green Bay, is there anybody else in that area that's kind of doing the same thing for the scene up there?
It's kind of hard to say. We're not super active in Green Bay right now.
Yeah.
We don't really know.
There was the lyric room.
There was the
Yeah.
lyric room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lyric room.
That is kind of a bummer to see that gone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we
Or it's still there. Right? Like,
It's I guess I know there's some controversy with the lyric
Yeah.
room, or I've heard some stuff.
all I
Like,
see is the Facebook stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't
Yeah.
even been up to Green Bay since then, but doesn't seem like we'll be playing there for a
Yeah.
while. But I mean, those were pretty much our 2 favorites, that and Fatheads, and then Fatheads closed, then came
Closed,
back
yeah.
as Fatheads 2, and then closed again, which is just a bummer. Big hit for the scene.
Big hit for us, too.
Oh yeah.
Fatheads was very near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah.
that's where you guys got your start.
we played there every Thursday for
Yeah, it was the
a year.
there's a bar up there called Cock and Bull, and that's the name. I'm not using any profanity on the radio show. They so they would do double bubble on Thursdays. So like a lot of the college kids that we were friends with would come out pregame at Fatheads, and once we were done playing the open jam, we'd all meet up at Cock and Bull and have a fun night. So that was pretty much every Thursday for like a whole semester.
Avery was 19, so he would go home.
Yeah, I could not partake.
So Avery, you're quite a bit younger. You're the youngest one in the
I
band.
wouldn't say quite a bit.
Yeah, not quite a bit, but yeah, I'm the youngest in the band.
All right.
So there was a while when we started where it was either I would have to like sneak in or just kind of like get in good, with the staff there, and they'd be like, yeah, okay, like you're cool to just come and hang out, but no buying any beer or anything, which is fine because
Another way he would get in, and we would be sad without mentioning it, his parents are at almost every gig, and we owe a lot of Scary Canaries to the Robinson family. We rehearse at their place for like the last 4 years. We've had 1,000 frozen pizzas of theirs. They're just the nicest family, and love them to death.
Yeah, the first time we got together to jam, it was our first time at Avery's house, and jamming at someone's place is a little nerve wracking, especially when their parents are living there. So I've been to places where we're getting yelled at to be quiet and everything. So we walk in, and the first thing that Avery's mom says is, "You guys better turn it up because we want to actually hear it this time." So from the get-go, just completely welcoming and everything. And obviously, his dad, Patrick, gave us a check to help record our first EP and get some music out there, and they're our biggest supporter, and we're very grateful.
So, I mean, having like parents and family that, actually kind of helps and nurtures your passion, I think is great. I mean, do you have any advice to young people that might be wanting to play a guitar or start a band or play drums or play bass or a ukulele even?
Just keep playing it.
Yeah, just keep playing it.
I'd say it. Yeah, for drums, I'd say listen to the radio, put that on while you're playing, like put on a radio station and just play along to like every song you hear. Because that's what I did. I just put on a radio station and I'd just be like, play along. Even if I didn't like a song, I'd be like, I'm gonna try and figure it out.
Yeah, learn as much as you can. Go to use Ultimate Guitar. Ultimate Guitar is your friend for tabs. And just if you like it, learn it, because it's gonna be easier than you think it is usually. Learn your power chords.
I would say for myself, when I first started learning music, it was too academic. Like the piano lessons, like if I didn't play the song well enough that week, I'd have it for another week and have to play it better next week. And that just, drilling music is not what it's there for. It's art. It's supposed to be fun. And, playing with these guys in a rock and roll band is way more fun. Just do it is fun for you. If you want to learn how to play 3 chords really fast and that's all you're going to need, like, hell yeah, do that. It's going to rock.
We've got the question here. If you found a magic lamp, it's from Bob Minter. Thank you, Bob. If you found a magic lamp at Bay Beach and the genie would grant you one wish for the band, what would it be?
One wish each?
He has one wish. So I'm going to say one wish total.
Collective?
Okay. Collective wish.
All right, guys, what are we thinking here?
Should we get a van?
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe a cool van, or...
We could wish that Avery moved down to Madison.
Yeah, we could all move to Algoma.
Hey.
That would be really cool. We could get a band house on the beach,
Or just like,
in Algoma.
Unlimited studio time.
Oh, yeah.
That doesn't cost us any money. Maybe that.
And a reserved lane at Pizza Bowl.
Yeah.
So that's what you're wishing for, is the lane at Pizza Bowl?
Yep. Shout out Algoma Pizza Bowl.
I would have wished for 3 more wishes myself, but thank you, Bob, for the question. Well, what do you guys have coming up? What's on the horizon for Scary Canaries? Are you going to start working on a new album? Are you going to take a little break? What's going to happen?
We've kind of been on a little break since, because we were grinding pretty hard to get the last album out. So it was a pretty uneventful summer, but this might be the first time since like when the pandemic hit that we don't have any gigs lined up for a little bit. So I'm always writing, so there's always going to be more music, more songs. We got together and worked on some new stuff a couple weeks ago, so yeah, hopefully more music soon.